What's going on, guys? In this video, I'll be showing you guys all new T3 weapons in Throne and Liberty, including the new orb, so let's get straight into it. Alright, let's start with the Greatsword. We have 4 new Greatsword. The first one is Junobote's Blade of the Red Colossus. Look at the max damage on this weapon. It's the highest among all of this T3 Greatswords. Let's read the special skill, Junobote's Void. When hitting an enemy at 50% health or lower, with the Greatsword skill, increase shock and stun durations by 1.5 seconds and disable the items last for 3 seconds. This is going to be a really insane Greatsword for PvP. It's like an execute ability. The lower the target's HP below 50%, the longer the stun duration the target will take. Alright, for the next Greatsword, even though the max damage is not really that high, but the special skill on this Greatsword might be better for both PvP and PvE. We have the Morokai Thunderbolt. When applying shock or stun, has a 50% chance to deal 600% base damage. The effect chains up 2 times to enemies within 10 meters, amplifying 50% of the damage to each chain. 600 base damage is really big, and you have 50% chance to trigger it, and it's really good for single target or AoE situations. Alright, the next weapon is Adentus Cinderhulk Greatsword. It has the Adentus Fury. When attacking with the Greatsword, increase base damage by 0.4% per 1000 health, up to 36,000 health. So it looks like an upgrade from the old Adentus Greatsword, which I think is really awesome. The passive damage increase based on your max health is really good for tank and also melee DPS in PvP and also PvE. Finally, we have the Silver Reaper's Judgment Greatsword. It has the special skill called Silver Reaper's Gag Order. On heavy attack, has 80% chance to silence the target for 5 seconds. It has a 15-second cooldown, so this is a really good Greatsword for PvP. If your target is not stacking that heavy attack evasion, and you have a lot of heavy attack chance, expect them to get silenced every time you trigger your heavy attacks on them. So in PvP, it's a really good weapon if you're assigned to stick on healer, as you can keep them locked and silenced all the time. Alright, next let's talk about the sword. They have changed sword and shield to just sword. We have 5 of them. The first one is the Chernobog's Cauterizing Blade. It has the Chernobog Sleep Venom ability, which upon using Annihilation Slash has 80% chance to apply slow up to 6 enemies within 5 meters range for 3 seconds. Then it will put them to sleep for another 6 seconds, which is really insane. This is for PvE, but against players in PvP, it'll be half the duration, and it has a 30 seconds cooldown. Next, we have the Ahzreil Soulless Sword. The special skill is really good for tanking, as you guys can see here. Damage reduction plus 100 when using shield survival techniques or skills. Next, we have the Nirma Sword of the Falling Ashes. This is an upgraded version of the old Nirma Sword. It has a 70% chance to apply collision push to a target upon using a shield strike. So it's a good sword for PvP. Next, we have the Cornelius Blade of Dancing Flame. This sword has the highest max damage and a decent damage reduction. The special skill is really great as well. On hit with Provoking Roar, creates a 4-meter radius explosion after 3 seconds, dealing 400% of base damage to the targets within the area. Reduce shield block chance of the target hit by the explosion by 50% for 5 seconds. So this is really insane. And looking at the stats, we have the weaken chance 200, also max health now 75. I think this shield is really great for an SNS 1 player. Alright, next we have the Ancient Demonic Beast Ivory Blade. The special skill says, usable when affected by collision prone from Ascending Slash, Ankle Strike, Desperate Clash, Ascending Cleave, Temper Strike, immediately remove Bind Collision, Sleep, and attack enemies within 3 meters for 100% base damage, Collision Push, and it has a 2 minutes cooldown. Alright, next let's talk about the new orb weapon that we have right now in Tier 3. We have the Talus' Transcendence Core. Upon using Distortion Veil, applies 40% of efficient Distortion Veil to the nearest ally without Distortion Veil within 5 meters radius. If there are no allies within that area, it amplifies the Distortion Veil by 50%. This looks like a healing orb. I'm not pretty sure, as it mentions a lot of allies there. Alright, next we have the Scepter of the Ancient Demonic Beast. Let's look at the special skill right here. When using Summon Constellation, the Milky Way skill can be used one more time once within 6 seconds. Next we have Cody's Source of Contagion. The special skill is really insane for healers that are using shield ability. Boost Guardian defensive wall by 30%. Using this ability has 80% chance to apply collision push to enemies within range and push them out of range. If strengthened more than 2 orbs, applies collision immunity to all party members within range. Alright, finally we have the Supreme Orb. This one doesn't have any special skill, but the stats are pretty decent. We have Wisdom, Dexterity, Max Mana 600, also Weaken Chance, and with a decent max damage as well. Alright, next let's talk about wand. We have the newly upgraded Excavator wand, which is the Excavator's Radiant Scepter. This one has the ability when using Swift Healing on a target below 30% health, applies a shield 40% of base damage plus 1500, and it has a cooldown of 30 seconds. This is a really awesome special skill, as you can spot heals your dying allies below 30% health, which will increase the chance of your party's survivability. Next, we have the Silver Reaper's Codex of Law. So this one is for PvP, which means the Tavern wand or the upgraded Tavern wand will still be great for PvE. If you look at the special skill, Silver Reaper's Sentence, when a Touch of Despair hits, there's an 80% chance to reduce all received skill recovery, which means healing by 99.99% and applying weaken effect for 200% base damage when receiving heal or recovery effect. So healers really need to pay attention with this new debuff. It works something like the Unstable Affliction in World of Warcraft, which means if you have this debuff, you cannot heal your teammate. Number one, there's no reason to heal because he or she gonna be taking 99.99% healing reduction, so there's no point healing him. But if you heal him or her instead, he'll take 200% base damage. So I think this is a really great skill for PvP, and healers need to be paying attention from now on. Alright, we have 3 tier 3 spears. The first one is Junobote's Extra Smoldering Spear. It has Junobote's Inferno. Upon using Blood Tech Aura, creates a flame zone that deals 120% of base damage for 5 seconds to the target within the area. Targets create the same flame zone of the same size. It also applies Ignite effect on critical hit. So when you cast the Blood Tech Aura ability, there's like a circle on your feet and you can move around, and whoever is inside will actually take damage. And the flame is going to be spreading as well, which is really insane. Next, we have the Witch Worshipper's Slaughter Spear. This one is a decent spear. On Predator skill hit, has 80% chance to weaken the target, which applies melee defense minus 600 for 3 seconds. Finally, we have the Supreme Pole Arm of the Resistance. This one doesn't have a special skill. It's similar to the Heroic Resistance weapon that we got in Tier 2 and also Tier 1. Alright, next we have 2 new daggers. The first one is the Cauterizing Daggers of the Blood Moon. This one, when attacking a target below 50%, with daggers at night, it increases your crit damage by 20% for 3 seconds. That's really huge. 20% crit damage is really good. When attacking a target below 50% health with the dagger during the day, it will increase your critical hit chance by 650 for 3 seconds. That's really good as well. Crit hit chance for 650, which is almost 1,000 crit hit chance. Alright, next we have the Ancient Demonic Beast Bone Daggers. For this one, each attack with Vampiric Strike has 70% chance to deal fixed damage equal to 400% base damage. So I think the Cauterizing Daggers will be better. Looking at the max damage, as you can see, is 190 on the Cauterizing Dagger, and the special skill is really insane and good. The crit chance doesn't matter if it's day or night. The Ancient Demonic Beast Daggers are not bad because the extra 400% base damage every time you cast a Vampiric Strike is really good as well. It has 70% chance, so it will increase your damage regardless. Alright, next let's talk about the crossbows. The first one, we have the Cauterizing Crossbow of Eclipse. When attacking during the day, increase attack speed by 1% and bonus damage by 2% for 2 seconds. At night, it'll increase your movement speed and also damage reduction by 2 for 2 seconds, stack up to 15 times. So it's a little bit inconsistent, like during the day it's doing damage, but at night it's more like for defensive. So if you're a crossbow player, you might need to think twice before getting this crossbow or grabbing the skill core if you're using a heroic crossbow. Alright, next we have the Morokai Flame Spike Crossbow. This one, base damage plus 2.5% to all party member within 60 meters. This is really good, especially for PvE, because it'll increase not just your damage, but the entire party member for 2.5% passively. And if you're in a raid group, people will actually love you because of the buff that you provide using this weapon, and you'll highly likely to get invited in raids. Alright, next we have the Silver Reaper's Crossbow. This one gains 25 stacks of Soul Harvest when an enemy being attacked dies within 10 seconds. Each time you make a projectile attack, unleash 1 stack of the projectile for 35% base damage. This one is going to be for PvP, and if you're killing a lot, this might be the one that is suitable for you. Alright, now let's talk about staff. Unfortunately, we only have 2 tier 3 staff, and all the special skills are not really great for PvE situation. So if you're using a heroic staff, the old Digon skill core or the Grey Eyes one, if you're using lightning skills more, might be better than grabbing the skill core from this tier 3 weapons. The first one, we have the Talus Incantation Staff. When stunned, trigger Petrification, freeze for 1 second to protect the user. It has 24-second cooldown, which means if you're stunned, you'll basically petrify yourself so the enemies can't actually hit you and you can get away instantly, and has 24-second cooldown. Really good for PvP in battlegrounds especially. And the second one, we have the Witch Worshipper's Black Moon Staff. So it will change your Salvation Chain ability. This is the ability that allows you to pull your party members towards you. So instead of using that ability, it will change it to Witch Worshipper's Temptation. So on skill hit, it has 80% chance to apply Fierce Seduction on the target, making the target to follow the caster for 4 seconds. And it will increase PvP damage as well by 15%. Which means it's a similar skill like Velentra, if you remember the tier 4 dungeon boss, where at one point of the mechanics, you have to actually charm your team member and drag them away from danger. So basically it's the same thing, but instead of charming your team members, you charm the target that you use this ability on, and it's an 80% chance to actually charm them, and you can drag them away your team, so your team can actually target this player because he or she will overextend and will take more PvP damage without any heals. So once again, really great for PvP. Alright, finally we're going to be talking about Longbow. We have 2 new tier 3 Longbow. The first one is the Grand Alliance, a Longbow of Blight. Upon Nature's Blessing, use heal 40% of base damage plus 135 health per second for 6 seconds. Healing is disabled when it rains. So when the enemy uses the rain ability, or when it rains, basically the healing effect will not be present. So it's a good special skill. The stats are not bad. This bow is going to be good, but except for the rain situation. Alright, for the final weapon, we have the Witch Worshipper's Maw. For the special skill, Ensnaring Arrow now will change to location or directional skill. On hit, deals damage equals to 130% base damage, explode in 3 seconds to bind enemies 3 meters from the target and deal the same damage. If the target is killed, explode immediately, boss immune to the bind, but become oppressed instead. So we have another condition there for bosses called oppress. Right at this moment, we don't know whether this bow is good or not for PvP and PvE, but looking at the stats there, the max damage is really good, and the stats are great as well, but the bind chance, I think, is mostly going to be used for PvP. That wraps up today's video. Don't forget to hit that like and also subscribe. As always, this is your regular adventurer Kasum to help you guys out. Peace out.